Welcome to the session. In TCM, there are 5 vital substances: key, essence, blood, body fluids, and mind.
So in our previous sessions, we have completed key and essence. Okay. So now we will continue the journey and try to understand blood as per TCM, what it does, what is the significance, and then later we will try to understand the body fluids. And then later we will try to understand how all these four interact. So first, as per TCM, what is blood? Blood is also a form of key. What TCM says is everything is made up of key. Okay. The only difference being something which is very subtle and sparsely uh, spread out is key, and the more it becomes denser, it takes the form of a matter. Okay. So in the Western philosophy, energy and matter is separated. Okay. Energy is something and matter is another thing. Okay. Energy is invisible, matter is visible. But what TCM says and many other philosophies say is that all of it is just the one material. Okay. Okay. When it is the energy is condensed, it becomes matter. When it is spread out, it becomes energy, which we call it as ki. Okay, with this philosophy, everything further has been formulated. Okay, so as per TCM, blood is also a form of ki. Only thing is it is dense form of ki, and ki infuses life into blood. Okay, so without ki, blood would be just an inert fluid. Okay, so the life in the blood comes from the ki. Okay, so all of these theoretical statements which are being made will have lot of importance in diagnosis. Okay, so even though these seems to be very simple statements, don't think that these are simple. Try to pay attention to it and make a note of it, whatever I'm trying to say. Okay. So this is a difference between the Western medicine and the TCM, right? So the way that they see the blood is different. Okay. Now, along with the differences, there are some commonalities also. So the similarity of TCM and Western medicine in terms of blood formation is, what does the Western medicine say? It says blood forms in bone marrow. And TCM says blood is formed in heart, but but there is an assistance of the kidney. Okay, with the help of kidney, the blood is formed in the heart. That is what TCM says. Now here is the catch: with the help of kidney. So what is this is where all the things, the similarities come. The kidney stores essence, and that essence produces marrow. The TCM marrow and the Western bone marrow is not the same. Okay, as per TCM, the marrow creates the bone marrow. Okay, it is the more um, fundamental unit of creation. Okay, so the kidney stores the essence, and that essence produces marrow, and that marrow in turn generates bone marrow, and this bone marrow contributes in making blood. So the link is that the when they say blood is formed with the help of kidney, that kidney links to the bone marrow, right? So that is where we see the similarity between two types of medicine. Okay, so body doesn't understand allopathy, homeopathy, TCM, Ayurveda. No, body is just one, but the view angle, No, perspectives are different, and here there is a match of the perspectives. Okay, so how does the blood gets formed? So we have already gone through this part, but because I am taking blood especially, I am trying to share this picture. Okay. So what happens? The food is eaten, and the spleen converts that food into food key, and the food key is sent to heart, lungs, and lungs adds air and sends to heart. Okay. Now, in the heart, there is an indirect supply of kidney essence and the original key. What is original key? When the kidney essence gets transformed into key, essence is liquid, visible, key is invisible, right? So I had given this example of uh, lead acid battery. The acid, the chemicals is visible, but based on that reactions of the chemical, electricity is produced in the battery, but that electricity is invisible, right? Similarly, the kidney essence interacts and creates the original key. So with the help of both the kidney essence and the original key, and whatever is the output of the heart, when all these things combine, the blood gets formed. This is one pathway, right? And similarly, there is another way of looking at it. Okay, it is the same thing but at a different angle. Okay. So what this perspective says is the spleen, uh, this perspective is in terms of post and pre-heaven key. Okay, so what is post heaven is what after the child has born. Okay, the nourishment which is received to the child after the child has born, that is the nourishment is from food, right? So all the food in like goes into the spleen and stomach, and that spleen and stomach gives the post heaven key. Okay, and whatever the child received while in the womb, okay, the initial information or the initial energy of both the mother and the father which was received, okay, that is called the pre-heaven, means pre-birth. Okay. That energy is received from the kidney. So the kidney gives that the pre-heaven energy key, pre-heaven key is stored in the kidney, and through kidney we receive that pre-heaven key. So with the help of both post-heaven key and the pre-heaven key, blood gets formed. So in the sense, food and the initial energy in the body before birth, whatever was instilled in the body, those two energies mix together and create the blood. And this is important to understand because once again, when we have to diagnose, we know what to treat. So one of the book says that, say for I'll give you an example. Say you are going working and earning a salary. Okay. Now the salary is coming into your savings account, but the expenses in the day-to-day life is not that much. Say you are earning 1 lakh and your expenditure is only 20-30,000. Now that 70,000 is extra. What do? So you allow it to accumulate, and after some time you think, okay, see, there is enough money, why don't I invest this excess money into, say, purchase a house or a plot of land. So you invest that extra savings into a house. Okay, you purchase a house. Now that house is given for rent, and now that house is also generating revenue, right? So your income is coming, and that additional income from the house is also coming. Now once again that accumulation happens in your savings account. Now okay, you see, okay, there is more extra. Okay, I will put that into something else, purchase gold or silver, or put it in stocks, or do something else. Okay, so whatever is the savings which was not utilized, you turn it to something else. Okay, thus first you turned that savings into land, and then whatever revenue came from land, you turned it into some you know, valuable metals. So and the same thing is done in the body also. Now the key is getting produced, you eat food and all, no, sunlight is there through air, all of these things generates key, the energy. Now if that key is not fully utilized, what happens? It returns essence to the kidney to be transformed in, uh, that key is given to kidney so that it can be changed into essence. So in the form of essence it is storing. Now that essence is also not getting utilized. Okay, there is surplus. What does the body do? The essence is turned into blood and stored in the liver. Okay, so in that way, and even in the physical body also, you can see the same thing. Okay, you if you take excess of say glucose, the sugars, so the body doesn't require that much. What it does, it breaks down and stores in the liver, and when it is needed, it is converted back into glucose and utilized. Okay, whenever there is something excess in the body has this mechanism where it tries to store it for a rainy day, for whenever there is some difficult days. And that is also happening with the fat, right? When we eat more and we are not utilizing it, the body turns that into fat and thinks, okay, for some difficult days I will convert that into energy and utilize it, okay, when we don't get the food. So similar thing is happening over here. Ki is converted into essence, and the essence is converted into blood, the reverse engineering part. Okay. Now the blood is generated by the interaction of the post and pre-heaven ki. Why do we know, why should we know this or study this? Is because when you see a patient and the patient is having less blood, okay, there is no nourishment of blood. So then what do? You know, these are the two things that you will have to work upon. Okay. Your post heaven key, that is food getting converted into food key, you will have to work on that, either tone spleen, and then enough food is there, intake of food is there, the conversion is there, but the blood is not getting formed. So then what you do, okay, that innate original uh, energy which is making, okay, the kidney essence and original key, this part. So you go to this part and you treat this. Okay, so you treat kidney. So to know this, we have to study this flow of events. Okay, so the next is, what is the function of blood? So I have given this photo, okay, based on one of the previous class questions. Okay, somebody asked what is about liver key stagnation and liver blood stasis. Okay, so I'm just trying to illustrate how things function within the body. Okay, I will come to this little later. So what is the main function of the blood? One of the main function is to nourish the body, that is give all the nutrients, supply the nutrients. So the blood complements the nourishing action of ki. So ki also nourishes the organs, the cells, the tissues. Along with the ki, blood also nourishes. Okay, so you go and stand in the sun, okay, the sunlight is nourishing the body, right? You go and take fresh air on the mountain top or somewhere, okay? So that fresh air is also nourishing your body. So, and you go to into a clean atmosphere, the cleanliness of the atmosphere is also nourishing the body. So the key is nourishing, the invisible energies are also nourishing the body. At the same time, the visible energy, the blood, is also nourishing the body. Blood is a dense form of ki. It flows with it all over the body. So it says the blood is dense form of ki. The blood flows throughout the body along with the ki. Blood and ki flow together. Along with nourishment, blood means when these two are, with this point we can correlate over here. Okay. So you mean to say the ki and blood, both of them are moving together. Now, if the ki doesn't move, what would happen to the blood? The blood will also not move. It is something very similar to this horse cart. The horse is the key. Only when the horse moves, the cart, which is associated with the horse, the cart which is associated with the horse will move. If the horse is not moving, this will also stay. Say the movement, say if you detach the horse from the cart is an inertia. It just stays there. There is no movement of its own, right? So similarly, first the key moves, and then behind it, the blood moves. Okay. So if there is a stagnation of key, say example, liver key stagnation, it means that the liver is not, sorry, the key is not moving in the liver and throughout the body, because liver is responsible for the smooth movement of the key throughout the body. So after some time, what happens? Invariably, the blood is also not moving properly, okay, because the liver stores about 20-25% of the blood, and the blood is also not getting circulated. So we get what? Liver blood stasis. Okay. It is also a stagnation of, but the name given is stasis, not stagnation. Okay. So along with nourishment, blood also moistens. So it moistens the skin, it moistens the all the tissues. But whereas ki does not moisten, okay, ki is not holding any substance. It is not carrying the water, right? But the blood is the one which is carrying the water. So ki is not moistening the uh, tissues or cells, but the blood is doing it. So blood ensures that the body tissue do not dry up. Okay, so it provides the nourishment and fluids. So example given is the liver blood moistens the eyes, sinews. It is the joint between the muscle and the bone. So it moistens the skin, it moistens the hair. So whenever I'm saying this statement, simultaneously your mind should be thinking, okay, if somebody is having a dry eyes, dry skin, dry hair, one of the possibility could be liver blood deficiency. So that is how you should be thinking. The diagnosis is hidden in all of these things. So second is the blood in the heart. Okay, this was, the previous one was the blood in the liver, does all these act functions. Say for example, the blood in the heart moistens the tongue. So what should come in your mind right now? Somebody can say. My statement is heart blood moistens the tongue. What should be generating in your mind?
Heart fire.
Dry tongue.
Okay, both of them are right. So the fire is more because the liquid is less to control the fire, right? And also the dryness in the tongue. So if somebody's mouth is very dry, no, tongue is very dry, then one of the cause could be there is low blood in the heart. Okay. So in that way, every statement will get converted into some form of diagnosis. So you should hear it with a lot of attention. Now next, blood provides material foundation for the mind. So this is a very important statement and very deep to understand. I had told in one of the class, what is mind? Mind is the subtle form, say the food we eat, and the food gets converted into food key, and the food key has two parts. One is the subtle and the other one is the gross. If somebody has not listened to this class, the class where I discussed all the deep dive into key is the name of the class. There are 2-3 classes on that. Please do listen to it, so you'll be able to connect what I'm trying to say. So the subtle form of the key will become the mind, and the gross form of the key will become the body. But at the same time, this subtle form has to be nourished, and that nourishment to the mind is given by the blood. Okay. In the next slide you will understand a little bit more of this. So whenever there is some kind of disturbance in the mind, the first thing that we'll have to see is the blood. Is the blood reaching to the brain? Okay. So there are different permutations and combinations. What type of blood is reaching? Along with that, along with the blood, is there too much of heat? Along with the blood, is there too much of wind? Or the quality of the blood is low, or the quantity of the blood is low. So many things you will have to understand. But the fundamental is, for the brain / mind to be well nourished, it requires proper blood supply. Okay. So I told there are 4 vital things in TCM. One is, yes, pumping of the heart, that is quantity of the blood is not strong, means then we will have to look into the pumping part, right? So the blood, I told 4 vital things. One is key, essence, blood and body fluids. Where does, like, see, the body fluids and blood, both of them are yin, and for a matter of fact even the essence is also yin. Okay. It is dense fluids. Okay. But there is, even though there is commonality, these two are separate things. Okay. So for example, in heart, okay, slightly advanced thing, those who don't get it, you can ignore it for time being. Say heart blood deficiency is there, and heart yin deficiency is also there. Blood is a form of yin, but along with that there is heart yin deficiency. What does it mean? So heart blood deficiency should have sufficed it, because even blood is yin. Okay, when we discuss the yin yang chapter, these things will become more clear. If you are not understanding, don't worry, just ignore for my words for a few minutes. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, it is very important to understand these statements. Okay, blood is a part of yin, as it is dense and fluid like. Say when we take the heart chapter, in heart we have heart blood deficiency and also heart yin deficiency. Then what is the difference between these two? So think about it. Okay, we will discuss it when we come to that chapter. So blood is also a part of yin. It provides coolness to the body. Okay. Next one is the continuation of the function of blood. So in the simple questions, there is this yellow emperor conversations are there, right? Old classical documentation of TCM. In that, there is a book called Simple Questions. In that, chapter 26 says, blood is the mind of a person. There is a statement, very significant statement. Blood is the mind of a person. And another book, which says Spiritual Axis, chapter 32 says, when blood is harmonized, the mind has a residence. So when blood is harmonized, the mind has a residence. Means someone who has a residence, they will stay in the residence. And if there is no residence, they will be roaming on the streets. Right? Similarly, when there is enough blood, when there is harmony of blood, the mind will have residence, a stable mind. And if that harmony is not there, the mind is roaming, unnecessary, fast movement, like roaming on the streets. So somebody's mind is very agitated. It is unnecessarily creating too many thoughts. So where does the diagnosis come to? This statement, when blood is harmonized, the mind has residence. So it means that the mind is not residing, it is restless. Okay, it is agitated. So we'll have to look into the blood. So for the brain to function, so it is at the peak. It is against, say the heart is at the chest level. All the blood flow will happen downwards easily. Okay, because gravity is also influencing it. Movement of the blood will be easier. But against the gravity, it has to move to the head. So it requires more power. Right? And also brain to function, it requires lot of blood supply. Okay. Even though it is very small in terms of size, it utilizes lot of energy because it has to do lot of computation, calculations. So lot of decisions are done in the brain. So it requires a lot of that power or nourishment, and that nourishment is provided. One of the form of nourishment is through, or one important form of nourishment is through blood. So if the supply of the blood is less, what happens? The mind will not be able to function properly. There is some kind of blurriness in the thinking. So the blood houses and anchors the mind. Okay. So if you see in the ocean, okay, when there is ships which are near to the shore, they put the anchor and make the ship stay in a place, stabilize the ship. If they don't put the anchor, what happens? Based on the tides and waves, the ship will move away from the shore. So if the ship has to be stabilized, it has to be anchored. So similarly, if the mind has to be anchored, stabilized, then there should be enough blood supply to the brain. Blood embraces the mind, providing the harbor within which the mind can flourish. Okay. The blood is kind of embracing the mind. Okay. So, and that gives a lot of nourishment, like a good fertile soil. If you put a seed, the seed germinates and comes out as a very nice healthy plant, right? That kind of nourishment is given by the blood to the mind. So when there is no proper blood supply, the mind's, somebody is mentally not sharp, IQ is not there. Okay, where is all your concentration going in terms of thinking? Okay, you will start seeing in terms of the blood. When the blood is deficient, mind will lack this foundation and becomes unhappy and uneasy. If somebody has lot of money, they will feel at ease. They will feel, if there is any, suddenly if there is any requirement of money, there is enough to take care. Okay. But If somebody is not having enough money, they require say 1000 rupees per day, but they only have 100 or 200 rupees. So how will be their state of mind? They'll always be worried. So for the next meal, what should I do? How can I take care of these bills? How will I sustain the family? The worry will be there because there is not enough um, financial supply to that person, nourishment in terms of financial supply. And the same thing applies to the mind. If there is not enough the blood supply to the brain, then the mind will always be agitated. It can't think, it cannot concentrate for a long time. It will unnecessarily be roaming around. Okay, you can't create deep meaningful thoughts. Okay, and even little bit of negative emotions will blow out. Okay, all these kind of scenarios will come up because it is lacking its foundation. It should be something like say if you dip a gulab jamun or a rasgulla into that syrup, it just absorbs and soaks all those sweetness, right? And it is well nourished with that sugar syrup. Similarly should be the mind. So it should be well nourished. And if you eat a nourished gulab jamun, with every bite you it is very juicy, right? But if you eat something which is very dry, which is not with syrup, half kind of what juicy, so there is no fun in eating those kind of things, right? Similarly with the brain should be well nourished with the juicy kind of fluids. One of them is blood, and there is a CSF. So like these are different levels of understanding. So we are discussing about blood, so we'll stick to it. So this is typically manifested, say this deficiency of blood, this is typically manifested by a deficient restlessness. The mind becomes restless, characterized by vague anxiety, unnecessary anxiety. Oh, what will happen if the say will I, if you are trying to go out, will I get this thing or not? Unnecessary worry, anxiety, and slight irritability. Unnecessary, for small things they will get irritated, and feeling of dissatisfaction. See, for these kind of people, how much ever hospitality you show, they will not be satisfied. They will still find the loopholes. If you feed say 10 varieties of 10 5-course meal, they will not be happy. They say, okay, the glass of water was not right, or something was small silly things. They'll still be dissatisfied. Okay, so this shows what is happening in the brain because there is not enough nourishment. And in sleep, okay, what happens? The blood naturally embraces the mind and ethereal soul. Okay, ethereal soul is, where is ethereal soul residing?
Liver.
Liver. Good. And corporeal soul?
In kidney.
Lungs, sir?
Yes.
Lungs, sir.
Yes.
Corporeal
Lungs.
soul.
Corporeal soul is located in lungs and the ethereal soul is in liver. So what does this statement say? In sleep, blood naturally embraces the mind and the ethereal soul. Very beautiful statement. See, when we are standing, we are vertical, right? The blood has to flow upwards. More work is there. But when we are asleep, okay, we are on a horizontal position. So now it is easier for the blood to nourish the brain. And because we are in resting position, the liver doesn't have to supply extra blood to any other, say, muscles, etc. So the maximum amount of blood will stay within the liver. Okay. So what TCM says, the ethereal soul in the liver will get lot of blood, and the ethereal soul gets nourished, and the mind also gets nourished because there is more blood supply in the horizontal position. Okay. So if you see it, indirectly all these are giving hints about diagnosis. So if somebody's blood is deficient in the liver, what will happen? Very important diagnostic sign is that they will not get sleep. 80 patterns which are there in TCM. So out of that 80 pattern, if you keenly observe the sleep symptoms, so you will notice that whenever there is deficiency of blood, one of the symptoms is of disturbed sleep. Okay, they won't get sleep easily. So for example, I was telling that, say, liver sends blood to heart. Okay, so even in the creative cycle, if you see, after liver, the heart comes, the wood, and then the fire comes. So the liver stores, say, about 20-25% of the blood in the body, and then that supplies to the heart as per TCM. When the recipient is not receiving enough blood, okay, so when the heart blood deficiency happens, the person will not get sleep up to about 1 o'clock. Now that progresses further, and generally this happens in teenagers, okay, or the young people. But if that process becomes more chronic, the recipient is not only receiving less blood, the supplier is also having less blood. So the liver itself is becoming deficient in blood. So now what happens? That sleep pattern will shift further from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. or to 3 a.m. So the sleep pattern is also shifted. They will not get more sleep. Okay, after 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. they will get sleep. So this shows that blood deficiency is closely linked to the sleep, and it is because the blood is not nourishing the brain. Okay, and also even in the indeficiencies, they won't get the sleep at all. Okay, it is a different story which I will not get into, like restricting ourselves to the blood. So in sleep, blood naturally embraces the mind and ethereal soul. But if the blood is deficient, the mind and the ethereal soul floats, and the person cannot sleep, and the person will have lots of dreams. Okay, so these are the two signs. So whenever you are treating a patient, you will have to ask about their sleep pattern and understand what time they go to bed, when do they wake up, do they wake refreshed, or they have a lot of dream disturbed sleep. These are very important parameters, and unfortunately I see many therapists, they don't even consider these kind of questions, asking these questions to their patients. So you will have to, so these are all important factors that even though these are all simple statements, they have big implications. Okay, so you should pay attention to it. So even when you are reading your books, okay, when you take any chapter, there will be symptoms given, 1 2 3 4 for this, these are the symptoms, for this pattern these are the symptoms. You should not only blindly mug them up, okay, by hearting them. No, you should understand the logic, why this symptom is coming in this pattern, why it is not coming in another pattern. Okay, so if you try to analyze it in this way, and with proper analysis and understanding, if you get a hold of these things, it will be very easy for you to quickly come to a conclusion on what is happening in the patient. As soon as the patient starts telling their story, you will be able to figure out, okay, this is happening in their body, this is deficient, or this is excess. Okay, all these things happens only when you carefully, analytically read the symptoms for each of the pattern, not just by hearting it. Okay, so this was the content for today's class. In the next class, I'll take how each organ interacts with the blood. And in the future classes, I'll take about the body fluids. Okay. So any questions on today's class?
Krishnamurti-san,
Yes, madam.
our lymphatic system, is it considered part of blood or part of body fluids?
I think part of body fluids.
Okay. Because the blood also contains WBC, lymph also contains WBC.
Yeah, it is very similar. The contents of
That is also nourishing.
see the way that TCM says is, say fire is red. Okay, the color of the fire is red, and the heart is the one which is creating the blood as per TCM.
TCM.
And they say, okay, blood is also red. So, but the lymph has no color of red color, right? So, based on that, I am saying, okay, it is considered as body fluid. Even though, as you told, both of them is very similar. Okay, so but it would be considered as body fluids based on this understanding, which I told.
Okay. Okay.
Can I?
Thank you.
Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
You said blood is QE.
Blood is
blood is also QE energy.
yes, yes,
It's also referred to as tissue, isn't it? Blood is also referred to
yes.
as tissue,
Connecting tissue.
connecting tissue.
Yes.
So connecting
in
tissue.
allopathy.
No, here also, Sushila madam was telling it is in the class. It was connecting tissue.
Yes, that is also that is what I am also telling the same thing. It is connecting tissue because it connects different organs and different parts of the body.
So okay.
See, it is. See, key is.
clarify?
Yeah, ma'am, you can also add. I'll just add one
finish.
thing.
Please finish.
Yes. See, the key, when they say key, everything is key. See, there is just one material through which in different manifestations happen. That is what TCM says. Okay. So in that way, so I gave you the example of say bread and wheat. Bread is nothing but an altered, like a different form of wheat. If you say bread is wheat, it is not wrong. Right. Similarly, what TCM says. Yes, madam, please add, do share your
No,
views.
the connection of the zinc with the connective tissue, as we said, it is allopathically, it connects all the various organs. It flows through every organ, every nook, every space in the body. And without blood, nothing can survive. So at the same time, over here, when we say lymph, the difference between lymph and blood, very nicely explained by you, is the differentiation based upon color. You know, in the color that it is red, and therefore it symbolizes the energy fire. While lymph is, though being part of the circulatory system, this finally goes and ends up in blood. You know, finally it goes to the heart again, and there it ends up getting mixed up with the blood and getting circulated all over the body also. But as he said, it is a type of body fluid. So blood is, maybe let us take it as a categorization of a body fluid, and lymph is a separate category of body fluid. Am I right, Krishnamurti?
Yes, ma'am.
That is also body fluid. This is also body fluid.
Yes,
but
even
if you're talking about key, key is a little different, not in the physical form. Key is the energy form of it, while the actual physical form of blood or lymph probably categorizes it in the body fluids. But what it carries is the energy, is the key, right?
yes,
If I've
yes.
understood right.
Yes, you are right.
It brings about nourishment. It takes away toxins. It's got multiple functions. So
It
lymph has separate functions, and the blood has separate functions, though they both belong to the circulatory system. You know, like Revati madam asked. So they both are belonging to the circulatory system, but in TCM, probably they're classified separately.
Any other questions?
Sir, may I ask a question, sir? Sir, can
Please.
that blood chart you had, can you please put this say that one more time. I had a question. Yeah, that.
This one.
So yeah, thank you. So one of the questions is, you said that lymph is also body fluid, blood is also body fluid. Are there other types of body fluids?
Yes, yes, so many things. Tears is a body fluid. Milk,
Milk.
lactating milk is a body fluid. Menstrual fluids
Menstrual
are
fluid.
so many things are. Even CSF,
Even
cerebrospinal
saliva.
fluid. Saliva is a body fluid. Many types of body fluids are
Yes,
there.
sir.
Okay, so all of them together form, we can say it forms the yin
Yes,
part of our body.
exactly. Yes, all of those are part of the yin.
Okay,
Why do
thank
you
you.
say it is in?
I will tell you the you will understand this more clearly when I take up the yin yang class. It will be difficult for me to explain now, so I'm just okay.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Sir, then sweat is also part of body fluid?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay. Thank
urine
you, sir.
urine is body
Okay.
fluid. Saliva, tears, blood, sweat, all of these are body fluids.
Sir, one minute. Shall I ask?
Yes, please.
Sir, lymph passes through what, sir? Blood passes through blood vessels.
And similarly, lymph also has its own network, lymphatic network, and it flows within that network.
Okay.
Just like the blood has its own vessels, similarly, lymph has its own vessels.
Okay. Sir, one more question actually.
Yes.
You said if people are not getting sleep, it is because of lack of blood.
One of the causes. See, you should not. Okay.
Okay, one of the causes.
Yes.
Either heart or liver. Heart, in heart, if it is not there, it may be because of liver not sending blood to heart. From heart, it should go actually. So, okay, if we have to treat those people, what we should do actually?
See, there are protocols, right? Say when there is, say if there is liver blood deficiency, so there is a protocol in terms of rearranging the energy pattern in the body, and also you should suggest the patient in terms of their physical intake of food. Okay, see, blood will not get formed out of thin air. It is only the food is getting converted into blood. So if they are not having sufficient nutritious food, we will have to suggest about them, and also a lot of physical activity. If they are having a sedentary life, okay, they should be suggested for physical activity, and these kind of things you will have to see what is excess at that point of time. If the yang is excess, so you should suggest more yin type of food. If the yin is excess, you should suggest yang type of food. All of these things will come through more study and understanding. Okay, one of the part is to provide the treatment protocols. Okay, makes sense.
Okay.
Did you get your answer?
To some extent, but I am not convinced.
What extent you did not get?
No. Sorry, actually, maybe I am not understanding.
No.
See, if that sedentary life means that production of blood is not enough, or it is not flowing properly.
See, the production. Okay. The food is consumed. Say you eat, say idli. Now the idli has to get converted into blood. That is the whole process, right? So it has to be transformed. Which out of 5 elements, which element does the transformation?
Fire.
Water.
Clean.
Water.
No. I'm not asking about the organ. I'm asking about the element.
Fire.
Right. Fire is the only element which does the transformation. Okay, in no other element will transfer. I gave you the example of the finger, right? If you put the finger in water and take out, nothing happens. It is the same. And finger in the air or in the mud. But if you put your finger, okay. So I was giving you this example of the transformation. So if you put your finger in fire and take out, the finger is already transformed. So similarly, now the food has to get transformed. So it requires fire. Fire where? So there are so many organs, right? So it requires fire in which organ? So it requires fire in spleen, spleen yang, right? So now if the transformation is supposed to happen, means that fire should be there. So the fire will come how? It comes, one of the form of the fire is physical activity. When you work, when you do work, there is more fire. When you run, the body temperature increases, right? You sweat. So that if the physical activity is very poor, that fire will be low in them. So the conversion of the food to blood will be less. Okay. So it will be mostly mucus, phlegm will be getting formed in their body. So it varies from patient to patient. So why I am giving you all these fundamentals is, the more you are strong in the fundamental, the better it will be your diagnosis. So if you don't understand what is yang, what is fire, what is transformation, then it will be, it will be like blind this thing. You will only be dependent on somebody else to give you the protocol. Did I give you the answer, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Welcome. Okay, next question.
You talked about transformation into blood, through the food key. Okay, we've understood that part of it. But what about the rest of the fluids, the lymph and, food key, we understand. But what about the rest of the fluids like milk, sweat, CSF? Is it the same process or still food key? Or
it is once again the food key. Food key is transformed into different material.
Okay.
So
the process of transformation is all by fire of spleen, yang of spleen, all fluids. I'm talking about.
It requires for all the fluids are different levels of transformation, right?
Okay.
So, and for all the transformation, fire is needed.
Okay.
And the first level of transformation happens in the spleen with the help of spleen yang. Okay. And then later at different levels, different changes happen. Okay. And even if that fire is needed, say in liver also fire is needed, in heart also fire is needed, in all the organs fire is needed at different levels. And when that level changes, imbalances happen. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, post heaven key, food is one of the sources. Can we assume the other source is the oxygen in the air or the sunlight from the?
Yes, all of that.
So for the oxygen, we have the lungs, which is doing the exchange of gases and everything.
Yes.
For the physical food that we eat, the spleen and stomach is taking care. Now, how do we relate the sunlight and the other sources? Through the skin it happens, but after that, what happens? How does it enter our system?
See, one of the thing is, if you see the opening of the liver, what is the opening of the liver? As per
the bile duct,
Eyes.
Eye is the opening.
Okay,
eye is the opening of the liver, and
that's right.
There is a magnificent functioning of the correlation between the eyes and the liver. See, it is so beautiful. I heard it somewhere. Okay, I have to figure out. Don't ask me for any documentation. I don't have it. Okay, just what I heard in some place. I'm trying to share it with you. See, the blinking of the eyes is happening, right? So when I close the eyes, there is darkness, and based on the darkness, the liver has so many functions, like more than 500 functions to be done. So it categorizes the blinking. When the eye is closed, the eyelid is closed, there is darkness, and out of those, say 500 plus function, the liver segregates the work. When there is light, it does some functions, and when there is darkness, it does some other functions. So how does it know that the light is there or not? Okay. So it uses its opening, the eyes, to perceive the light energy. So what we understand, that based on the eyes we see, that is only one part of the function of the eyes. There are more other things which we have not explored, or I have not explored. Okay. So there are so many things on says the sleep pattern depends on the amount of light which is passing through the eyes. That is why whenever there is somebody not having sleep and all, many doctors or others also suggest to reduce the screen time. Okay. Watching mobile till the late night, watching TVs till late night, what happens? The eyes loses the track of natural light. So its sleep pattern will change. So in all these ways, okay, the light is utilized and processed. And one of the thing which I told is liver is utilizing the light to do some of its functions, segregate the functionalities, and definitely there will be much more things which will be happening based on the light, which currently I do not know.
By light, you mean even during daytime, if my eyes are closed, I am doing meditation or I'm having an afternoon nap.
Yes.
What does that, does it indicate light is entering or light is not entering? My eyes are closed. Then how do we take this?
The body understands. See, light is one form of, the eyes is just one, entry point for the light. Even if it falls on the skin, the body understands it to some extent. Right? It is not, see, if we close our eyes and the light is there or not in the room, we can make
the
out
skin
to
will
some
still
extent.
function.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you.
Welcome. And also, see, when we try to understand the functioning of the eyes. See, what eyes does is, there is this light waves coming into the eyes, and the eyes converts those light waves into electrical impulses or some chemical energy or electrical energy. It converts, and then that goes into the brain, and then the brain processes those chemical translation or the electrical translation of it. So even in that way, what that translated energy is giving to the brain, okay, I don't think there is full research which has happened onto it. Okay. About the visual information, yes, but apart from visual information, anything else, there should be something, because when you see something, it is it is absolutely fascinating, this subject. Say you see a person who is, say there are two people, imagine one person you like and one person you don't like, you hate that person. When you see what is happening, it is not the person. For your body, it is just an information of light. Some light rays is coming, and that electrical signal is passed. It is not the person who is getting into your brain, only the light which is reflected that from that person is getting in. So, but the amount of emotional changes which happens in your brain is so much different when you see a person whom you like, or I should say when a light form which you like falls onto your brain. The emotions which gets created is so different than the light form which you don't like. And depending on that information, say a fire is up, or some when you're crossing the road, there is a vehicle which is coming very fast. For your body, vehicle is not a vehicle. It is only the what do I say, the light. It is only the light or some chemical translation of that light. But for that, your body reacts so violently. You start running or jumping, or you take away the, you go back. But if there is some flower, that is also a light. But the way that your body responds to that flower is so different, right? So what I feel is, even though it is light, but the work that it does once it gets into the body, it is phenomenal. Okay. Okay. So if any other questions anybody has?
Sir?
Yes. Yes, madam.
Sir, why in deficiency people will not get sleep properly, sir?
Yeah, once again, the nourishment is not there, right? Yin, blood is also part of yin, right? So the brain is not getting enough nourishment, so they don't get sleep. So when the pocket is empty, somebody will be worried, right? So similarly, the pocket in the head is empty with blood. So even to it, once again, this is once again a fascinating subject. If we delve deeper into it, see how the blood, enough blood flowing into the brain induces sleep. Okay. So, and if there is lack of fluids, why it hampers the sleep? Like there should be some research done on it. Okay. Or if there is already some research done, we'll have to read it. Okay.
Can I recall here the role of melatonin secreted
Yes,
by
ma'am.
the
Please,
pineal
please.
gland?
Yes.
Please,
Wonderful.
the role of melatonin that is secreted by the pineal gland is very closely linked to lack of light. Only in the darkness. So if you are given the tablet melatonin, they tell you have to sleep in a dark room, and they have seen that a lot of these flickering blue lights in an epileptic always changes the quality of the brain waves. It has been documented. So we find that light, certain in some people only, not on everyone, it puts about epileptic seizures. This is research done, and everybody knows about it. So the role of melatonin is still not very well understood, and what else pineal gland does, we don't know fully. But as far as the the tapping of the brain waves, during the time we have no certain alpha, beta, gamma, delta waves we have in the brain is constantly putting out electrical impulses that is grossly altered by flickering light. And those who have got a imbalance there definitely will precipitate epileptic seizure. I'll have to think about it and go through a little more in research. But this is all very esoteric science. It's again deeply associated with the human emotions. So light and darkness and the organ of the perception of this is the eyes. Similarly, sound also must have some effects. So that's the reason why the omkara, your nasal brahmari, all these create nitrous oxide in the nasal cavity, which is beneficial to us. It has been documented. But how exactly they alter the brain waves, I am not a neurologist, so I really don't know too much. So I just wanted to bring this out. Anybody who wants to read on it, probably you can. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sorry, I've left a lot of loops incomplete. I'm not able to even explain fully.
No, loops are valuable because that makes us think and go deeper.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Any other questions? We have 7 more minutes.
Sir, I have a question on the dreams you were talking about. You said liver and heart, if there's blood deficiency, there will be, the sleep will be filled with the dreams. There are like symptoms which are different. For if the liver is deficient, there will be different kind of dreams. If the heart is deficient, there will be different kind.
Yes.
Possible?
Yes, yes, it is based on the type of dream. Also, we can do diagnosis. Okay, somebody always feels as if they are falling from no, an elevated place, and somebody is always being chased, or they get horror related kind of dreams. So, and based on the dream also, you can diagnose what is the problem, and also based on the time of the sleep when they get, you can decide what is the problem. So as I told, one up to one, around one heart blood deficiency, around 230, 3, that is liver blood deficiency, no sleep at all, some kind of indeficiency is there. So in that way, based on the patterns of the sleep, you can do diagnosis also. And based on the type of dreams, you can do some kind of diagnosis. Say water is related to kidney. If somebody gets water related dreams, drowning and all those things, okay, there's some issue with the kidney, some kind of deficiency in the kidney, we can get to know. And somebody always say dreams about open land, vast, so there's something related to, it could be lungs. So in that way, there it is written, okay, it is documented. Let me see if I don't know if it is over here. Okay, it is not somehow given in this thing, but it is a well documented one. Okay, you will have to read, or we will take up one class on dreams itself, so on some time. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So that means if somebody is sleeping early but keeps waking up or wakes up at 2 o'clock, even then it could be a deficiency.
No, it is different. See, if somebody gets up for a bathroom break, that is different. So, like there too much of urine is getting created. So they'll have to, if somebody gets up multiple times, one time, once is fine, but 2, 3 times in the night, then you will have to look into their kidney because they're not able to hold the urine. Okay, so kidney, you will have to check that. And also, your dreams is no, it is once again a very vast subject. It is your mind is constantly active, means your conscious and subconscious mind, that concept is there, right? See, when you sleep, your conscious mind is not active, but your subconscious mind is active, and it still knows what is happening around you to a certain extent. Say if there is a mosquito bite, just because a person is sleeping, they won't just sit and allow the mosquito to keep on bite it. So they will do the tap, right? The body understands something is happening, and when they are sleeping, and if they feel urgency for a bathroom break, they wake up, the body wakes them up, because it is keeping a track of what is happening to some extent, not as much as when they are active, but still this thing is, surveillance is happening. Okay, so it is once again quite a deep subject.
Okay.
One question, sir.
Yes.
Most of the time when we dream, like in the morning we forget. We don't even remember what we dreamt.
Good.
So is it imbalance or?
No, that is how it is designed in such a way that, okay, every small minute thing you remember. Okay, somebody said something hurtful 10 years back, people still remember it, they are not able to forget it, right? So in that situation, if they start remembering everything in the dream, no, it will be too much for them to process. Okay, so it is good that they forget it.
Okay. So it is not any imbalance.
No. It is supposed to be forgotten. Like only rarely somebody remembers the dreams. Only towards the waking up time, if there was a dream and it was a very intense dream, they remember it. Otherwise, no, people don't remember it.
Yeah.
And no need to remember also, unless there is a very, very specific need.
Yeah. So dreaming is not bad actually, right?
See, if you get, see, when there is a dream, there is still the dream has to be processed, right? So the restful sleep will be less. So unnecessary dreams is not good. But when there is a dream, okay, you don't even have to remember it. Okay, see, it is. I'm giving you a very essential answer. It has more details to it. Okay. Fine. Okay. And anybody wants to join the group, Books to Brain series, they can contact me, and it is just 2,000 rupees for an entire year. The classes is on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6:30 to 7:30. And you can also get many of the classes on my YouTube channel, Krishnamurthy Acupressure. Okay, please do subscribe, and if you like the video, click the thumbs up. And the classes happens from Feb 2021 to Feb 2022 for an entire year. It is just 2,000 rupees. You can contact me on my number. Okay, so thank you all for joining the class. Okay, have a good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zones. Thank you.